when I'm not pouring acid into my eyeballs after spending 5 minutes on TikTok Live for the first time. I like to answer questions and comments that I get on YouTube, so let's get to it. Do we have to be able to improvise in all 12 keys on guitar, or is it okay to improvise in one key and transpose it? What do pro guitarists do? This is an excellent question and kind of a fascinating question, something that I have learned over, luckily for many, many years, I've been able to perform and kind of get to know like incredible guitar player, like some of the best guitar players on earth, and then just also some guys who are just kind of doing it professionally or casually, whatever. And it's funny how different the actual education level is for what they're actually doing and how little it matters to the end result of how they sound. So what I mean by that is like I guess I started guitar by some standards kind of late. Like I didn't start playing until I was 18. I don't really think I had a natural proclivity towards the instrument, especially when it came to like playing like lead stuff, right? But, I was very thoughtful about it, and I wanted to learn about how things, work. So to answer your question, from my point of view, I am able to solo badly in all 12 keys. Pretty much, and they're all kind of like the same. Like, I don't really have like a money key like some guitar players do, but some guitar players, that is a true thing. So the way that I learned was like, all right, I just really wanted to play songs first. So, like, solo guitar, lead playing, improvisational stuff was never really a focus of mine, kind of until I became like a YouTuber and people had a lot of questions about it. And now I can kind of do a passable solo in any key. But my approach to improvisation was always chord-based, right? So at first, it was like, all right, well, what chords are you guys playing? If they wouldn't actually say the names of the chords, I would do this move where it's like, all right, volume's off, and I'm kind of like listening like, is that it? Is that it? Is that it? Is that it? And then I'd kind of find a spot where I felt comfortable with and take it from there. Now I can kind of a little more seamlessly drop into a jam if ever the need calls for it, which hopefully is never again. But I was always like, all right, so if our chord progression is whatever, A minor to E minor to G to C, I would be like, all right, let's see, the tonal center seems to be C major. That means I can use A minor pentatonic. And then I have like a lick vocabulary of things I could do. I could do that if it's a bluesy thing, right? I can do some blues stuff. Just kind of mess around A minor, and then it's like, all right, here comes the C part. Now I'm gonna go to C, find a root note, and then play like some arpeggio stuff from there, or have my shapes blend together. And that's probably, I think that's probably the most common way that most people do it, is they have a group of shapes that lock together however they learned it. Some people learn 5 pentatonic shapes. I'm a big fan of learning all the major scale shapes. What I mean by that is like, all right, so if we're playing in the key of G, it's you got your G major shape, and then you've got your A mode 2 shape, and then your B shape, and then your C Lydian shape, and then your D mixed Lydian shape and stuff like that, and link them together until it becomes more fluid. Now, what blew my mind actually about learning what other professional guitar players do. Like, I've got a friend of mine who's like a live looper guitar player who doesn't know any music theory. And I don't want to name drop him or anything, but like, if you asked him what key a song was in, he would just say the first key of the first chord of the song. Like, if the song chord progression is like F to G to A minor to C, you'd be like, oh, that's in the key of F, right? And it's like, of course, like now that I have taken like more of a studious approach to it, like, well, that's actually a 4, 5, 6, 1 in the key of C. So I'm going to use all my C major stuff. But his ear is so trained that he's a phenomenal lead guitar player. And it's really just like his fingers are just following what his ear tells him to do. And it's actually fascinating to watch because I know for a fact he doesn't know what he's playing and he doesn't know what the chords are in a jam, but he rarely ever plays a wrong note. And I think you might be shocked at how many super, super high-level guitar players actually play like that. They just play by ear. They don't really know. Maybe they know like a little bit of music theory. And it was very eye-opening to me. I'm like, what do you mean you don't know stuff? I think there's even like a famous like story about Jimmy Page, like in his post-Zeppelin days where he was doing like some event. And it's like, all right, what song? The song's in G flat. And he's like, I don't play in G flat. I don't know if that's like actual true story or like a live show or whatever, but I do remember reading that. And it's just like funny to think of like some guitar player, but I don't play in G flat major. Like, but I totally get it. Some guys, they just like practice what they do and they're so good at it. And that's another thing. Like some of my friends who are in like massively successful bands, they are so incredibly good at being in that band. And like the other thing is that like the higher you get up with like really top-notch musicians, the more humble they are in most circumstances, with exceptions, don't get me wrong. But they'll be like, yeah, I suck at guitar. I'm just really good at being the guitar player in this specific band. And I think that's awesome, right? Like some other musicians kind of dunk on them for that. Like, oh, well, sure, they're one of the great metal guitar players of all time, but can they play a samba? It's like, who cares if they don't want to play a samba, like whatever. I do think there's merit and it's fun to like, learn different types of music. And I think it's great for your musicianship. But again, I think most people would be shocked at how many super, super high level professionals are only really good at that one thing. And also like, that's not even like knocking on them. Like if you know this is what you're doing for a living, just be super good at that one thing. And if you have to sacrifice impressing people at a bluegrass sit-in jam, like, so be it, guys. Like, that's the dumbest thing. They're like, oh, that guy's like amazing at what he does, but could he sit in a bluegrass jam? I don't think so. I don't think he could make it work. But anyways, even that, like, I play a lot with my buddy Pasha, who I think is like one of like the best violin players I've ever even heard, let alone lucky enough to play with. And when we do a song, I'm cognizant of like, all right, if it's just as easy for me to play a song in the key of G or C, something with like fewer sharps or flats, I think it's just a little bit easier. Like he can do everything, but it's like, all right, I know what his money keys are and where he's most comfortable. And that usually is a conversation between musicians if you've been gigging for a while. Otherwise, the merit of playing in all 12 keys is real. And I think just a couple quick tips if you're looking for them for how to diagnose what key you're in. Is really, I think everybody is probably better than they think they are at diagnosing the root note of a chord that is going through a chord progression, right? So say like you're like listening to a piece of music and you're like, all right, that's a root note, okay? Now, can you right off the bat tell me if that's a major or minor chord? Maybe not. Maybe that's like the next level or a level that you're like striving to get to or something like that. But a super easy way to check is like, all right, 7th fret on the A string, that's E, right? If we go like this, if that sounds good, then it's E minor. E minor is a chord. E minor pentatonic is your safety zone. If it's not, E major is going to be the one, right? And then major pentatonic is your safety zone. I think for me, even before that, the move that I would do to like kind of spot check what key I was in is doing this. If I could do this, I just became very good specifically at diagnosing what this sounded like in the relative minor of a key. So if I was like, that's not right, is that right? Is that right? Is that right? And it's like, oh, that's right? Okay, cool, great. G sharp minor, pentatonic. And then I can, utilize my lick vocabulary, do stuff like that, and then everything is kind of gravy from there. So that's the nice thing about being able to play with a little bit of your ear and then linking shapes together. Personally, I always think I play better, I solo better, I write better solos if I'm thinking of the chords behind a chord progression more than anything. Because you never know when you're going to come into some of the best chord progressions in the world aren't diatonic. Diatonic means just staying within the major scale of that chord. Like something with like a C major, G, D, A, right? Like, Hey Joe, Jimi Hendrix, something like that is a great example. There's no key diatonically that has 4 major chords. So once you like think of like, all right, well, this is maybe something a little bit different. Maybe I can incorporate a blues scale into this. Maybe I can kind of just follow the chords. With that, I think that's probably like the most important way to maybe approach being able to improvise. But yeah, there's no shame in not knowing exactly like, okay, I'm in the key of F sharp, so I know that I have an F sharp, a G sharp, a A, a B, a C sharp, and a D, and like that's fine. That's great if that's it. But I think it's just like, all right, I'm going to play all my stuff in the key of G and then just move it a fret to the left. Totally fine. More people probably do that than you think. And there's no, again, who cares? Nobody cares. This isn't a test. And that's so interesting about musicians in general, like, versus a profession like being like a doctor. Like, you probably want a doctor to like know their stuff, but a musician might not know their stuff, and they might be like the best guitar player you've ever met, because they're just figuring it out. You know? What I can't stand, side note, is when a musician is very understanding. I had a friend like this. I know that he knew all his music theory, and he would pretend that he didn't because he thought it was cooler, that he was just feeling the music and playing along. I'm like, you're an idiot, and you're embarrassing yourself, and you're giving musicians a bad name by doing this. Why do you think it's cooler to not know what you're doing? And I think a lot of musicians are like that. It's just cool, and there's more mystery to what I'm playing than actually thoughtfully applying and executing things that I've practiced on a guitar. That's dumb, but just practice in one key, get it down, move it around if that's easier for you. If you like exploring different keys, if you like playing chord-based approach, if you like playing with your ear, it doesn't matter. As long as you have a guitar in your hand, you're going to get better, and you're going to become much better at what you're practicing. So if you do want to get better at improvising different keys, start practicing in different keys. If you're totally cool just playing the songs that you love, get really good at playing those, and don't worry about what other people say. Awesome guitar. I guess when I finish paying off my Inspire, I'll have to get one of these. Thanks for the video showing you the best. Yes, so this was on the Enya JT collaboration. This guitar is awesome. This is a little bit like their other ones in the series, but with upgraded pickups and kind of like some cool like custom different settings. I think it really like, again, this is my favorite preset guitar that Enya makes. I'm a huge fan of like all this stuff. You see me playing these things a lot. If you guys are interested, a lot of these are going on sale for like Black Friday stuff. So I'll have affiliate links in the description if you want to check it out. Because there's something so cool about having just a guitar with a built-in speaker where you don't have to worry about making a big thing to practice and like, you know, set your amp up and your pedals. Just... And again, it sounds great. Super cool to have it. You can stream stuff to it. Big fan of any guitars. Check one out. Affiliate link in the description. I also love the burst. It was funny. The first time I did the video that this comment was from, I didn't even realize that the burst on this is blue. I just thought it was like a reflection of the light. But this is what I've literally never seen a colorway like this that works in a way that I would not have thought would have worked well if you just kind of like explain, oh, it's going to be like a sunburst with like a blue, like what? But man, awesome guitar. Shut up and play your guitar. Too much verbal diarrhea. Final Fantasy VII. I love the comments that are like, just shut up. Like, do you not know how YouTubers work? Like, if it was just me playing a guitar, like, that would be great, but, like, nobody would watch it. You know? Most of this is just talking about stuff, talking about different lessons and different pieces of gear, but, you know? One man's treasure is another man's verbal diarrhea. Final Fantasy VII. Like the hat, do you also do tennis coaching? Could be fun. Will Warren, Alcaraz, and Sinner. So this was on a video last week where I was wearing the Wimbledon hat my sister gave me when she went to that. So I come from a tennis family. My mom played college tennis. I am so trash at tennis. It is so actually funny. Like, I'm an athlete. I've played basketball my whole life. And basketball actually translates pretty well to tennis as far as moving around. But what's great is nobody in my family can beat me at tennis just because my only skill is being able to hit the ball back in bounds. I hit it back with no pace and a lot of spin, and I don't know what I'm doing, just like a lot of guitar players when they're trying to solo. I have no clue how to actually play tennis, but I will be so frustrated to play against because I just keep hitting the ball back super slow, waiting for someone to make a mistake. So... I don't know if I should give lessons because people find it super annoying. They get incredibly frustrated and they're very mad at me, and I never have anybody to play with because of that. But I don't know. If that's something you're looking for, hit me up and we can do some lessons. Oh, no, man, there's no good in AI. It's for lazy people. Let them learn without your AI. Your advice and whatever you stand for is misleading. This was on a video about AI backing tracks and how they can be helpful. Help me out. What do you guys think of the temperature of the AI thing? I've seen so much AI stuff that I just don't really care anymore. Also, ChatGPT, which I use probably every day to some extent, is very helpful in some ways and mostly just wrong about anything important. So it's great being in the sweet spot of AI right now, where we just have constant anxiety and danger of it taking basically everything cool in this world and not providing any benefit. But at the same time, it's like, I don't want to pretend AI is not happening. So I've gotten some heat on like doing some videos showcasing like kind of AI software and stuff. And it's like, I'm not telling anybody to use it. I'm just showing you like what it does and what it's available with. I do feel like, again, maybe I'm just being an idiot here. Tell me if I'm wrong. I feel like that's a little bit different than replacing artists using artificial intelligence. I think that like using it to practice guitar and maybe make a backing track, like a custom backing track, to me that seems mostly harmless and more in the spirit of what we thought AI would be. But, just, if you're against everything I stand for because of that, I guess let me know. I like you, but you bore the F out of me. So what exactly is it that you like then? All right, so for listening homework, I'm going to throw you to a new track from an artist named Kirsten Izer. Cool little kind of acoustic, happy, shinsy vibes. Sounds great, a big fan. Let me know if you have any questions or comments. I can put it in the next video. And what you think of the Enya JT collab. This thing is awesome. Like I said, I'll have an affiliate in the description if you guys are interested. These are super cool. Makes a great gift for somebody. Anybody could use like a carbon fiber composite guitar that they could just like leave in their car or just kind of have around and not worry too much about it. Just because, like I said, it's just a great practice tool to have around. And, it's a lot of fun to play. So thanks for watching. I'll talk to you guys soon.